and welcome back to Out of Body, 31 Days of Halloween. Today, I'm going to be debuting, I guess in a way, my own tag video that I've written. I did copy some questions, some ideas from other videos that I've seen, but I tried to make up a lot of the questions too. So anyway, this is the horror tag video. So I'm not going to necessarily tag anybody, but anybody that wants to do this video, I love for it to like spread around, you know, especially during this season. So anyway, I just thought this would be fun. There's been like a summer Halloween tag, which I did in summer, and then there's been paranormal tag, there's been countless tag videos. But not a lot of people have done a horror tag, so I was like, I'm just gonna do that for Halloween. And I'll like take some questions from some videos that I have seen do something similar, and then just make up a bunch too. So anyway, that's what this is. I'll have the questions copied in the description below, so you can copy and paste them and use them in your video. You don't have to tell me or anything, you know, if you want to, you can, and mention my video. That would be nice, but you don't have to. So anyway, this tag has 10 questions all about horror. So let's get right into it. So question number 1 is, why do you love the horror genre? So I thought this would be interesting for people to kind of talk about, not just like that they love horror, but why? Something I don't think about very often. I think for me, it's just, I've always loved suspense. Always loved drama too, like in movies, but I've always loved suspense, something that just keeps me glued and at the edge of my seat, and the little bit of like scary or creepy or whatever just really like gains my interest, and I don't know, just gets me really invested, and it's almost like an adrenaline too. I know I've heard people talk about the reason why they like getting scared is the adrenaline. Yeah, I would say that's why I love the horror genre. For one thing, I just find it interesting, and I always have, like some of the, especially true stories, especially paranormal stuff, but in general as well, you know, I just find it all interesting and I enjoy it. Question number 2, what is your favorite type of horror content? Example, TV shows or movies or books or creepypasta stories on the internet or narrations, different things like that. So what's your favorite way to get your horror content? I would say for me, I guess movies. I know that's typical. I do really like creepypastas though, so it's I'm kind of torn there, but I love to hear creepy stories. I love to read them, you know, kind of all of it. But I would say my favorite would be movies. I love to watch horror movies, so that's my favorite thing, just to curl up. For some reason, I love doing that on a Sunday afternoon, like late in the afternoon, evening. I don't know why Sundays, but it's kind of weird, I guess, but that's like my favorite thing to do on Sundays. It's just like curl up in my chair and turn on some horror movie on Netflix or something. Question number 3, what is the first horror movie you ever saw? I'm not sure on this one. As far as the first horror movie, I would guess it was probably like, I mean, it would have to be something made like pre-1960, because that's a lot of what I was brought up on, which I love black and white movies. So being a little kid, it was probably either something Vincent Price or maybe like Frankenstein or Wolfman. That was probably one of my first ones, like one of my first, you know, times really celebrating Halloween. You know, I remember my mom would always have, I think the Sci-Fi Channel back then would play like horror movies, like the classic ones, all day long. And so it seemed like they would play like Wolfman and Dracula, the original, and you know, like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, all of those. Question number 4, have you ever read any horror books? I have. I've really only read one actual horror book, but I've read other like suspense and, you know, like dark romance, you know, Vampire Diaries, stuff like that. I've read that stuff. Twilight, yeah. I'm that girl. But I did read House. That one was actually a horror book, fiction horror, and that one was really excellent. I really liked that. To be honest, I haven't read a lot of other horror books. It's something I'd may get into in the future. Question number 5. So for you guys that are really hardcore horror film fans, I didn't want to say like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Because a lot of people have a hard time picking a favorite. So I said your top 3. So hopefully that helps a little bit. So my top three, I mean, my favorite I always say is 13 Ghosts, the original. I don't know, I guess it's sentimental because I've watched it for so many years now, and it's all about ghosts and stuff, so I would say that's my number one. My number two, I'd go with another classic of Vincent Price, but not The House on Haunted Hill. That one is a good one, but it's actually not one of my favorites, like not top three anyway. My favorite movie of his is actually, it's either called House of Usher or Fall of the House of Usher. I think it had maybe two different names, I don't know, but House of Usher. So my number three would actually be a little more recent movie called The Boy. That one is such a good movie. Like, I really, really like that movie because I'm the kind of person, I know some people will laugh when they hear this, I love stuff that's paranormal and I love horror content, but I don't like stuff that's really gory. I really don't. I guess just because to me it's just not, it's not that it's not scary, it's just that it doesn't really fuel that interest in me. I guess that kind of stuff just doesn't interest me. So, you know, like to me, I just think it's, to me, you know, it just comes across and I just think, oh, that's gross, you know, like I just don't think that that's interesting or exciting, you know, stuff like blood and guts and all that. So the movies I tend to like tend to be more the movies based on a lot of suspense and fear of the unknown, you know, which sometimes that's paranormal, sometimes that's like, you know, other things. So my number three is The Boy, and that one is a more modern movie, but it really doesn't have, like, at the climax towards the end, there's a little bit of violence, I think, but it's not that bad. And yeah, I just really like that one because it has a lot of suspense. It has a huge, and I won't give it away, but a huge twist at the end, which I love. I love any story that's got a twist. That is my thing. You know, it leads you thinking one thing the entire movie, and then towards the end it's like, it's good. I love it. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, watch it. I think it's still on Netflix. There is a part 2 now, and I have not seen it, though I've heard it's good, but it's like way different than the first one. Like they kind of change the plot around, or they don't follow through with some things. I don't know. Anyway, that would be my number 3. So question number 6 is, what is the scariest real life experience that you've ever had? And when I say real life, I mostly mean like with real people. I mean, it can be a real life, you know, paranormal experience. I'm not saying you can't do that, but what I was trying to kind of get at with this is kind of take away from the paranormal, since there's already a paranormal tag video going around, to kind of ask questions about stuff you've experienced with people. It's kind of hard for me to say because I'll be honest, I've been lucky or blessed or whatever. I haven't experienced a lot of scary things as far as people go. I guess I would have to say, which it sounds silly now, but it was really scary at the time. It was when I was younger. I was actually a freshman in high school, and I was going to a really small town school back then. Surprisingly, it was a small town school, but we actually had a lot of like stuff go on there, like, you know, people getting arrested, kids, you know, students getting arrested for having drugs, I assume. Fights were pretty common. This one scenario happened when I was in I remember it was in physical science class is what it was called. And it was dark in the room. We were watching like a film or something, and all of a sudden, this student, the door is closed, mind you. This classroom door is closed. The teacher is like not in front of the door, but kind of to the side of the door. And it happened so fast. This student rushes into the room. She just immediately just opens the door, rushes into the room, like within a few seconds. Like we were all just like, what the hell is happening? And I'm gonna leave names out of this because I think I'm still friends with both people, so no shade on either one of them. This was just kind of freaky, you know, to the rest of us, you know, that it happened. But anyway, this girl just rushes into the room, makes a beeline straight towards the person that's sitting to my left. So at first I thought she was coming for me. You know, first of all, I thought she was coming for me because she comes straight in there and starts coming my way. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? You know, and this is amongst, you know, fights breaking out being kind of a normal thing. I was never involved in any of them, but I was around it. And so she makes a beeline towards my direction, but it turns out she's headed to the person next to me. She goes straight for that girl, and she, from what I remember, she like punches her in the face, and she completely knocks the girl. We had these desks like you see in most schools where it's like a chair and there's like a tabletop attached to the chair. So you got like this thing around you here, and you got the chair, and this is all connected, and then there's an opening right here. So anyway, the girl's in the chair. The girl that swoops in punches her in the face and literally knocks her over, and the desk goes with her because she's still in the desk. So she like, this girl knocks the other girl, desk and all, on her back, and then I think on her side. Like, she just knocks the whole thing over and just starts going at her. And I was right next to this, right next to this. So yeah, that was, now that I'm talking about it, that was pretty scary, wasn't it? That was scary. That's probably the scariest almost interaction I had with a real person that I can think of right now. I'm sure there's been others, but that's one of the scariest. And, you know, it really didn't last very long. You know, they were kind of going at it for maybe like not even a minute, and then the teacher goes over and like pulls her off and all that, and it ends. But that was scary. Just the fact that it's quiet, it's dark in there, we're watching a movie, and all of a sudden, bam, this person just runs in. So question number 7 is, if you could be a horror movie villain for a day, who would you be? I thought this would be interesting to kind of think about, fantasize about, whatever. I'm gonna say too, it doesn't necessarily have to be a horror movie villain, just any villain. So even like a Disney villain or something, I mean, it's still creepy and scary. So like, you know, if you can't think of a horror movie villain, I would say the only thing that comes to mind is, if you've seen that series Once Upon a Time, it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but it's like a Disney series. It's like live action. It kind of incorporates a lot of different fairy tales into one, but it does have some creepy moments in it. I mean, it is a real, you know, more realistic movie. It's not a cartoon. So the only lady I can think of that I just really like would want to be, you know, if I could, is the lady that plays Regina / the evil queen in that series. And yeah, I don't know why, but it's like something about her character, even when she's not playing the evil queen, like in the fantasy side, when she's in the real life side of the story and she's just being mean, like, I'm just like, yes. I just feel like I could be her anyway in my fantasies. So yeah, that's mine. Question number 8, what is the creepiest item you own? So I thought this would be interesting if you actually own something that's kind of creepy. It doesn't have to be like haunted or anything, but like, you know, a doll you had when you were a kid, now it's like all creepy looking, you know, something like that. For me, it's actually this, and I'm not even gonna show it on camera because it's embarrassing, but it's this. It actually used to be, it's not anymore, used to be a hush puppy. I'll put a photo up over here somewhere of what it used to look like. It was like one of these little beanbag hush puppy toys. Anyway, I love that thing to death, literally. For several years, is my favorite toy, and because I used it so much and played with it, and I'd throw it and stuff like that, and me and my brother would like throw it at each other and stuff. I'm not gonna show it on camera, and I'm not even gonna tell you what its name is because it's too embarrassing. But for those of you who know me, and you know. Anyway, we now kind of call it like a Frankenstein dog or whatever, because I've sewed it up so many times over the years that it's got like stitches over here and down its back, and doesn't even look like a dog anymore. Its face is all like disfigured and doesn't have any ears, doesn't have a tail. It doesn't even have any like beans anymore. It was a beanbag toy. The beans are gone. They fell out a long time ago. I just put some stuffing in there and sewed them back up and kept walking. That would be the creepiest item I own. Some of my friends are actually afraid of it. Question number 9, what scares you more, ghosts or living people? For me, living people. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't be spooked by a spirit, but since I tend to be more open to that kind of thing and interested in that kind of thing, it doesn't scare me as much as it would, you know, maybe the average person. But real people scare me more. Like, I am way more scared of having somebody try to mess with me than, you know, having a paranormal dream or something. Like, I am way more scared of people. And the last question number 10, is which horror movie still keeps you up at night? Yeah, I already talked about this in my summer Halloween tag, and I mentioned it earlier in my top 3 favorite movies. It is one of my favorite movies, even though it's, I can't watch it at night. Like, I just can't. I mean, I can, but I'll be up, or I'll have to stay up and watch something happy afterwards, like SpongeBob, before I go to bed, so I can forget about it. But 13 Ghosts, the original, that one, I don't know why, it scares the hell out of me. And I think the main reason why is not necessarily because of the visuals. I mean, that is scary. For me, it's the sounds, because the sound effects that they use for, like, because it's 13 ghosts and they all have their own, like, voice or whatever. All the voices that they use in that movie, especially as you watch, like, the intro of the movie and, like, the end of the movie. Like, I have had to watch that movie, like, when I know it's got the voices going on, I'll have to, like, turn the volume down. Like, sometimes if I'm watching it during the day, I can just watch it, but I'm still like, But if it's at night, like, I gotta mute it at that part, because I can't handle it. It's like the sounds, it creeps me out. It's just, even talking about it, I'm like, oh. So yeah, that would be the movie that can still keep me up at night. There's probably others, honestly, but like I said, I've mostly watched a lot of classic movies. I'm getting more, like, educating myself on newer movies. Like, I watched Halloween for the first time several weeks ago, and I really liked it. Yeah, as far as movies I've seen, that's definitely one that I know can keep me up at night. Alright, so that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope some of my YouTuber friends, hopefully, will do this video. I would be thrilled if you guys did. So, again, I don't want to tag anybody because I don't want to pressure anybody. But if any of you, literally any of you, want to do this video, go ahead and do it. Like I said, you don't even have to let me know. Just go ahead and do it, and I'll be glad that you did it. I'm just excited that I made something, sort of. Like I said, I took some questions from other people, but I made up some of them too. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow in the next 31 Days of Halloween video. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.